as you're starting to refine a little bit, remember this little SMART test that was in the, don't you remember it from the Shift workshop?
Oh, yeah, there.
You did look at these before. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based can help you think about some of your objectives. So what you're going to be doing in the next week is a lot. So I want you to look at page 21 because it's painful. Because you all have been doing so much. So you're at this moment where there's just time for you to go back and think about, okay, how is my research project going to affect my mission and my vision? Am I still like on the right track? You believe it or not, you've started to do some significant information gathering that may be shifting already how specific you want to be about what your project is, because the next time we're together, we're going to define your prototypes. So in our next session, we're going to spend our entire time digging into exactly what experiments you are going to devise to learn from your prototype. So it may be that what you're going to be designing is a pilot of something. It may be that you have a mini experience that you're designing. It may be that you have a pattern that you're designing and testing. But that is why, at this moment, part of what you're going to want to do is go back and look at all of the work you've done in the last 3 weeks, which you've done a fair amount, believe it or not. And none of it's going to be right. It's also not wrong. But go back and look at your mission, your vision, who your ideal customers are, all of that work that you've been doing, and just sort of take it all in and try and process what that is, so that when we get together in a week, we can really dig in deeply into defining exactly what it is that you're going to want to be learning over the 4 weeks that follow, because we're not going to meet again until the 10th of January. So you're going to have time to start on your prototype. You're not going to finish your prototypes, but you definitely are going to want to spend some of that time working on your prototypes over that break that we have. So for your homework, take a look back. If you need to work more on your goals and objectives to hone down where you're going, I mean, the hardest thing for many of us is getting way too big. And so that exercise is designed to try and help you get back down into the details just enough to help you imagine, what do you really need to learn? What do you need to test and try out in order to figure out what your creative venture really is? So that by the end of this process, you have something, and that you have learned and you figured out who your customers are and what they're going to pay and how much time it takes to do what you're going to do and what your budgets are, and all of that stuff is going to unfold. But it's going to unfold from the actual prototype that we start to define very specifically next week. So, any questions, comments? I know it's fast, and we apologize that we had to rush. Our shift workshop started later than we wanted it to this year, and so we would like to have a little bit more time between these sessions, but we are where we are, and you all are making huge progress on where you're going. And our next session, we're going to start to nail some stuff for you that's going to give you more overwhelming brain power for the holiday season. So just think about all of the people who you're going to want to talk to during the holidays about your exciting prototype that you're like, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to learn all this stuff. Tell me what you think. So it's actually a pretty good time for you to get feedback on what it is that you're designing and crafting and starting to build. Your enthusiasm at the hour of 8:30 is overwhelming. So thank you all. Yeah. So thank you all for your time. And I just want to mention that if you all want some of my time, I can't promise that I can meet with every one of you in the next week, but particularly if you figure out like that a couple of you can meet with me together, I'm happy to try and make time. If you want some of my whateverness, I'm happy to do that. So please just email me and ask, and I'm certainly invested in what all of you are doing, so I want to be as helpful as I can within reality. All right, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I made a new mistake.
Uh-oh.
Just realizing. No, on my back.
Oh no.
Group instead of the page.
Giselle, bring this clothes.